To introduce Swami Shuddhidanandaji Maharaj, who will be giving the inaugural address. Swami Shuddhidanandaji Maharaj is a senior monk of the Ramakrishna order and Adhyaksha, president of the Advaita Ashrama based in Mayavati with a center in Kolkata. The center at Advaita Ashrama Mayavati is a Vedantic center envisioned by Swami Vivekananda himself. Swami Shuddhidanandaji gives lectures on various topics such as Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta. In addition, he also conducts specialized spiritual retreats. He has contributed to significant publications on Vedanta, Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. He has edited and compiled many books such as Vivekananda as the Turning Point, The Rise of a New Spiritual Wave, Hinduism, the Faith Eternal, selections from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. He has also been guiding students and faculty members at IIT Kharagpur. I request Swami Shuddhidanandaji Maharaj to kindly give the inaugural address.
Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. My respectful pranams to all revered Maharajas assembled here and to the distinguished guests and professionals assembled here for this session. Today's session is about digital transformation and self-transformation, a case study in Ramakrishna Matan mission. So today we'll see the agenda. The first one is, what are humanity's greatest assets? Also, we'll take a look at the current demographics in India. We'll also see the technology adoption by non-profits and spiritual organizations, and what role do we need to play in the modern AI age. There is also a greater need for R&D in organizations like Ramakrishna Matan mission because the bulk of the work is now interleaved with technology. Next, we'll also explore the creation of 2 labs that we have done. This has been very much instrumental in our digital transformation. Let's also delve into the 3 principles of innovation derived from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. We'll see that. We'll also see 2 case studies. One is the We Mind You app and the other one is the Narendra, the smart toy. We'll also highlight the transformation through emerging technologies, multidisciplinary technologies using a combination of generative AI, cognitive neuroscience, mixed reality and digital twins. We'll also take a quick peek into the media technologies that we have done. Finally, we had a new venture for the kids called the Nachiketa Labs, which is a knowledge lab for the kids for the self-transformation. So now, let's look at the next slide. Humanity's greatest assets. 25 years back, if we ask this question, what are the greater assets in the world? Generally, we'll say it's oil, then maybe the wireless spectrum. A few years back, if you would ask, it would be the data. Now, probably it's the rare earth metals and also the power for the AI infrastructure. But then, a visionary, Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj, the 13th president of Ramakrishna Matan mission, mentions in one of his lectures that today, children or the younger generation are the humanity's greatest assets. So the emotional well-being or the mental well-being of the children is of prime importance. The reason is, one is social media, now the AI chatbots have come and a lot more worldly distractions have come. And then there is heavy competition also. So life skills have to be taught to them so that they have the mental strength to boldly face the difficulties of the modern world. Eventually, they themselves will be trained and then they would master the art of becoming and being a human. So if you see the next demographics, the India's younger generation has a population of 372 million as of 2025. It has immense potential, but then they are facing a silent and escalating crisis of emotional well-being because of the pressures of the modern life that we just saw. It is also compounded by 2 other challenges which is present in India. One is the shortage of mental health professionals. It is only 0.75 doctors per 100,000 people who are trained in this. And there is also a social stigma that prevents many from seeking help. So this results in a vast, underserved population struggling in silence. So in order to understand the next generation, we as a spiritual service organizations have to be kind of fluent in technology. And we also need to have our innovation in our DNA. But in reality, if we see the chart, for spiritual or service organizations, we see technology adoption is typically in the late majority or in the laggards. In this magazine, New Scientist, a famous author of the book, AI, a guide for thinking humans, she beautifully says that AI should not remain only in the hands for the profit corporations. It should be circulated to educational institutions, research institutions, non-profits, because they don't have hidden motives or bias. So it should be used for evaluation purposes so that we can make it right. So because of these things, earlier, a few years back at Chennai, we have started something called Media Lab. So, which is like a multidisciplinary lab we have started working on. And recently at Vivekananda University in Calcutta, we have something called AI, IoT and MR, which is mixed reality. So here, teams are empowered to carry out some applied research, and then they engage in some challenges and then validate and refine the prototypes. So there is also a need to collaborate with industry partners and other research institutions to make the prototypes into real world solutions. So we are also a knowledge partner, so that's why we collaborate with other brand centers, within our brand centers, and also an active collaboration with other non-profits, government agencies and some other corporations too. So what is digital transformation for a spiritual or service organization? This is basically to enhance how service or spiritual organizations serve the society. So now it is not merely an option, because due to the societal needs and also the operational ease, it has become a necessity. So digital transformation requires constant innovation and continuous updating. For the innovation to happen, we have to keep Swami Vivekananda's 3 laws of innovation in mind. So to adopt that, what we have done is we have created a formal virtual unit called the DTC. It is a Center for Digital Transformation, in which there are 4 technologies, which is the FinTech, Soft Tech, Media Tech and Emerging Tech. So today's discussion will be on the emerging technologies and the media technologies. So let's look at the Swamiji's 3 laws of innovation. So Swamiji beautifully says, Swami Vivekananda, since the inception of the world, there has always been a struggle between 2 opposing forces. You take any field. One is physics, you have the centrifugal force. Labor, you have the white collar, blue collar. Politics, you have the liberalism, conservatism. Metaphysics, you have the yin and yang. Humans somehow have an uncanny capacity for innovations, but it can incur both benefit and harm, often in ways beyond our vision. Give an example, nuclear fission, social media, and now even the AI. So as with any innovation, we find time and again there is a duel or a fight between the dual forces which enter the human race, with one group favoring the innovation while the other group disapproving it. So our hunch ideally is to accept this, take a balanced position, and then try to do more research and then move forward. The second law, Swami Vivekananda says, it's called, we call it like a roar. Each work has to pass through these 3 stages. One is ridicule, then you have the opposition, then finally the acceptance. So this is kind of finally accompanied by the respect. So each man who thinks ahead of his time is misunderstood. The third law is the 3 P's: patience, perseverance, and purity. This is a must for all great things to be done. So whenever you do some great innovative things, you will see these 3 things come into play. So let's take a look at the history of digital transformation in Ramakrishna mission. So first we'll see the 2 case studies. During COVID time, we had developed a simple prototype app for a preventive mental well-being, especially for the rural children, utilizing both modern scientific technologies, but then it is coupled with traditional ancient Eastern solutions, which is our own Indian wisdom. So the diagnosis can be Western, but then the solution has to be Eastern or our own Indic thing. So what is VMindU app? It provides a digital workflow to identify the emotional well-being of young people through facial analysis, but that is not enough. You need a multimodal analysis. And then you have a subjective questionnaire, a psychological questionnaire. Then finally empower them with integrated body-mind training techniques, which is your yoga and meditation. And finally, verify it using neural correlates. So you have both the subjective and the objective approach. You have a Western and Indic solution. So to ensure that there is an improvement in their emotional well-being. As they say, face is the index of the mind. You can see the workflow in this diagram. First, we have the facial analysis for detecting emotions. So this is a prototype. So as we saw, we need a multimodal analysis. So where a subjective questionnaire is given, and then the anxiety and loneliness scale is kind of computed, thereby creating the negative emotion index. So for children with higher negative emotion index, yoga and meditation sessions are arranged. So once these are completed, the emotion index is recalculated using neural sensors to verify if there is an improvement. So this app was implemented in a low-code platform and was submitted to an international hackathon at Boston, and it won the first prize of $35,000 among all the entries in the world. But the real eye-opener was one of the judges' comments about the app. Although it was automated, some AI components were there. You can see a short video clip where the judge talks about the app being human-centric, and it has a human touch which he liked the most, in spite of the advanced automations and the AI technologies used. You can see the clip now.
India has the largest child population in the world with 472 million children. COVID-19 lockdown has significantly impacted 40 million children from poor families. These children come from marginalized families affected due to poverty, social inequality, alcohol addiction, education, and digital divide. Not-for-profit organizations in India, such as Ramakrishna Mutt, during the initial lockdown, provided necessities like free food and clothing, free health checkup, remote classes to satisfy the essential needs of these underprivileged kids. However, a growing number of concerns related to emotional health, such as anxiety, stress, loneliness of these children, have accelerated due to the lockdown. We at Media Lab felt the need to monitor the emotional health of children using scientific methods and go for a time-tested preventive intervention that aids in their overall well-being. Scientific studies in major research journals have established that traditional practices like meditation and yoga contributed to a better emotional well-being among children across cultures. In association with Ramakrishna Mutt, we collaborated with one of their rural child welfare units for a pilot experimental project. We developed an app called We Mind You app, intended for rural unit coordinators who run this emotional well-being program for kids within the unit. We Mind You app provides a digital workflow to identify the emotional well-being of children through facial analysis and a subjective questionnaire, empower them with integrated body-mind training techniques like yoga and meditation, and finally, verify the improvement in their emotional well-being using neural correlates.
And finally, the big grand prize best of show winner, I'd like to ask Armel to talk to us about who brought home the hardware, the number one top prize in our $250,000 QuickBase hackathon.
All right, I had the privilege to judge all the amazing submissions, and many times I was blown away by the creativity and the scope of the solutions. This particular submission stood out to me very specifically as someone working in the tech industry and also as a parent, because it really signifies the embodiment of the power of technology to solve incredibly complex human problems. Its mission is to help millions of children and have a significant impact on their lives. And the solution that this team came up with uses a plethora of technologies that work seamlessly together to assess the emotional well-being of underprivileged children and allow the people helping them to focus on their most pressing needs. The children are assessed by a variety of ways: non-invasive neural scans, facial emotional analysis, and the questionnaires. And the QuickBase application provides a powerful yet simple way to collect the data, summarize it, and visualize it, which allows the coordinators working with these children to focus on those most in need and also tailor the help to each child.
I can kind of share my thoughts on Remind You. I definitely thought it was really, really innovative and cool to how they just integrated the tools that they use in general to capture this data regarding mental health and mental wellness, and linking that back through, I think, the use of Azure to QuickBase, and just being able to capture all of those data points that in themselves like are just numbers, but like they tell a story about each individual child. And so I thought that was definitely meaningful, but just a mixture of both the automation and the human touch of obviously the counselors being able to look at that data and then come up with an action plan to help those kids is just amazing.
So I'm extremely honored and privileged to present our first prize going to Remind You Emotional Well-Being of Kids During COVID-19. Congratulations, team. Really well done.
Yeah, congratulations. That's just great. We're so thrilled to bestow the first place award to this team. It was just absolutely a tremendous app and really meaningful in terms of providing positive impact.
So next is the Narendra Smart Toy. We want to take the Remind You app kind of accessible to the children. So meanwhile, Indian government, the central government, was conducting a toycathon where indigenous toys need to be developed in India rather than importing toys from China and other countries. So we had planned a role model based toy called Narendra. It's a smart toy where we integrate some of the Remind You features in it. So this is a smart toy based on Swami Vivekananda's childhood persona called Narendra, which analyzes the emotional well-being in the children using facial and voice analysis, and then empowering them by using again the same meditation and yoga techniques. And then there are also some games and inspirational stories which it can play. So these kind of regulate the children's emotions. So again, it was a prototype. And this project also we submitted, and we went to Delhi, and it won under the out-of-the-box creative and logical thinking category, the first prize. So next project is called Samskriti Darshanam. This is a very new one. It is in our pipeline. This is the most challenging and innovative thing called Samskriti Darshanam, which is transformation of Indian knowledge systems into practical spiritual methodologies for preventive mental well-being, utilizing both generative AI and mixed reality technologies. So you know that Yoga Vedanta systems has been the prominent pillars of the Indian knowledge systems, which has always been practical and experiential. It is not just mere academic studies. So we have been inspired by the two spiritual precepts uttered by Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. So Swami Vivekananda beautifully says in one of his lectures, I have been asked to say something about the practical position of the Vedanta philosophy. Theory is very good indeed, but how we are going to carry it in practice? If it is absolutely impracticable, no theory is of any value, and it is a mere intellectual gymnastics. The Vedanta must be intensely practical. We must be able to carry out in practice in every part of our life. The foundation of the Samskriti Darshanam is exactly this. Another precept from Sri Ramakrishna brings about the practical aspect on how to carry ourselves out in the world. Sri Ramakrishna says, to remove the eye trouble, put on the green spectacles instead of painting the whole world with the green paint. So set your mind right and not attempt to right the world. Meaning, changing the world is akin to straightening a dog's tail. Our duty is self-transformation, to transform our lower self to higher self. So Swami Vivekananda brings to light in a very humorous way the difficulty in practicing this. So he tells a nice story. Once there were two deers, a father and a son deer. The father was proudly telling his son, Look at me. See my powerful antlers. With one thrust, I can kill a human being. You should be proud of our community. Just then, a hunter team was approaching and they were playing a unique horn sound which the hunters are associated with. It is kind of a marching sound. The moment the father deer heard this, it just simply vanished, with the child deer frantically searching for it. Then it somehow followed, and it followed the father deer. Then the son inquired, "Oh father, you spoke so strong and brave, yet you vanished in a moment's notice, hearing this sound." The father replied, "My child, I know I'm strong and powerful, but somehow, whenever I hear the hunter's marching sound, something seizes me and makes me fly." This is the case with most of us. We speak and learn the highest religious, spiritual, yoga, Vedantic principles, but when a testing situation comes, we fail miserably. So the conception behind this project is that negative emotions such as stress, anxiety, and anger especially happens in social interactions in the day-to-day world. So what we have planned is kind of use the technology. Using a multitude of wearable sensors and smart glasses with cameras to earpods with EEG sensors, wearable watch or ring sensors that can detect the physiological indicators for anger, etc., we can try to measure the internal emotions to a certain extent. And then probably we have to correlate with the subjective aspects of it. So let us say we have your own mood journal or a diary. We kind of document all those things. So once the subjective correlates match with the objective correlates, then we kind of find out, oh, this person is in a particular emotion. So based on that, we can play out a scriptural verse, let's say from Gita, Yoga or Vedanta, on his augmented reality glass. Along with the chanting, let's say he is having an earpods, we can do that. So based on a person's preference and choices, we can play out the media content. It could be a short video too. So this is the plan. So Samskriti Darshanam is about recollection and visualization at the right moment, with the media playing out at the right time and repeatedly, so that we can de-escalate our negative emotions and stabilize it. So now, as part of it, you can see a short video of how this works. So in this video, if you see, Sri Ramakrishna's teaching appears on his glasses based on the emotional condition in which he is. So he can quickly destabilize or regulate his emotions based on it. Next is the meditation quotient. So meditation has always been subjective. And we were wondering if the quality of the meditation can be measured objectively using cognitive neuroscience with some help from neurophenomenology, which correlates the subjective aspects also. But meditation is a very complex phenomenon and it cannot be really measured. So we studied all the research papers and we found cognitive neuroscience is like a kindergarten when it comes to understanding meditation. So instead of trying to align to the understanding how the meditation works in the light of cognitive neuroscience, what we did was we did try to measure the distraction markers. So whenever we try to meditate, it is actually the process of dharana, it is not dhyana. So whenever a person meditates, let's say for 1 hour, his mind wanders away, let's say for 30 minutes, he's feeling drowsy for 20 minutes. So only for 10 minutes, probably he's trying to meditate. So why not focus on this 20 minutes and 30 minutes? And if we can measure the distraction markers, then we can know that, oh, these are the distraction markers and these are the attention markers. And we can find out. So this is one of the projects that we have been working on. The next is the generative AI platform called Illam, where Swami Vivekananda's life and message, when we ask through ChatGPT or Gemini, what happens is the output, sometimes we get the hallucinations. So what we try to do here is feed our own things. So using a RAG model and probably using an on-device LLM, and then we can get the accurate answers. So we are also trying to improvise this on a RAG model with ARM processors and a unified GPU. So because of this, actually you get a low latency, cost effectiveness, and also the secure and green AI infrastructure you get. So some questions are there. For example, why did Swami Vivekananda start Durga Puja? You get the answers and also the references. So these are some of the questions. Yeah. The next project is on 3D digital scanning. So the majority of the digitization of heritage or artifacts for Swami Vivekananda, it has been done in 2D. Example, you take the photos and it has always been in the 2D format. So what if we can do it in 3D? The reason a 3D scan would be better than the 2D photos is because the drawings cannot match the accuracy of a 3D scan. So by creating detailed 3D replicas, we ensure that the preservation of the heritage artifacts would be good. So central government had initiated a proposal for 3D scanning for heritage spaces. So we applied for it. So out of the 60 institutions, we got invited to the final presentation at Pune. Then afterwards, we got a funding of about 83 lakhs or $100,000 for the 3D scanning. So next is the geo mapping. So these are the equipment which we use for the 3D scanning. Yeah. So in the geo mapping, we have the chronology of Swami Vivekananda collection completely mapped into the 3D space in Google Earth. So all those are aligned on the Google Earth, and you can see it in our publication platform. So this also includes incidents associated with Swami Vivekananda. Next is the digital media. With respect to media content, we see when the younger generation sees high quality secular media content streamed from the top studios in the world, and later see our spiritual content of lesser quality, it can create a perception thinking that, and a bias that spirituality is somehow inferior compared to secular things. So in order to do that, for the younger generation interested in Swamiji's teachings and Indian cultural heritage, we want to create high quality immersive experiences. So one experience we have created at Vivekananda House called the VR experience, so which is Tears of Vivekananda Transformation of India. So this experience is a short movie on Swami Vivekananda going to Kanyakumari Rock, so where he sees the miserable condition of India and the degradation of the glorious culture due to foreign invasions. So he swims across the sea at Kanyakumari and meditates on the rock 3 days in a row. So this is done in a 4D immersive experience where you have the water effects, aroma, wind effects, all those are there, where the visitor is seated in a boat and is made to time travel there. So we have got a VR headset. If the children are interested, later you can just see a glimpse. The next one is the Kathopanishad or the Arise Awake, a multi-sensory experience. So the Yama Nachiketa story also is kind of done in the same way. A very immersive experience. You can see this in Chennai. And there is also a movie on Swami Vivekananda. We have a plan where with the latest AI and VFX, advanced VFX, we can create highly immersive experience. So if you're looking at the Parliament of Religions, that scene, it should be as if like you are sitting in the Parliament of Religions and experiencing it. So there is a plan. We have done a short trailer where you can see that video clip. This is just a 2D version done using artificial intelligence. So the characters are all created using generative AI and then done. But then we can have a much more immersive experience if we create the 3D models for these things. So next we have the publication platform, which is already present. I'm not going details into that. So you can go to the Belur Mutt website where we have a complete digital publication platform that is already available. So finally, the last slide, outreach. Yeah. So the knowledge labs which we are talking about, we have the 3 concentric circles that you can see here. So these are the engagement that we can do using the digital outreach. The outermost circle symbolizes our initial contact with the individuals, let's say through YouTube or WhatsApp and other things where we can have the digital outreach. But the problem with these things are it is superficial and then it's transient. Moving inward, the next circle represents a deeper, more impactful connection. So where the depth or intensity is more. So these are through our publications, our immersive experience and all those. Then finally the innermost circle involving individuals, which is physically in person. These are long-term purposeful approach with monastic engagement. So that based on this one, we have created something called Nachiketa Lab, where we use a STEM lab, STEAM labs it is called. Spirituality and art is also included in this one. So our goal is to bring the younger generation offline and on campus, and then it is similar to your Balak Sangha or Yuvak Sangha, but where we infuse technology with that also. So Nachiketa Labs at Chennai Mutt, it is the first STEAM lab, where we impose informal learning and community-based mentoring and a flexible scheduling. So it is kind of free from our parental or peer pressure and social media. So here one of the most important thing is instilling purpose. Purpose is more greater than the peace or happiness actually. So this is significant because one of the main causes of the highest rate of suicide among younger generation is not due to lack of peace or happiness, but because they feel not worthy enough. They lack a sense of purpose in them. So through these multiple layers of outreach, we could cultivate good moral citizens, devoted volunteers, and the monastics of the future. So our ultimate objective in the digital transformation is, the more important thing is the people or the self transformation. So digital transformation would be a side effect or byproduct in this process. Yes. Thank you. Namaste.